I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. It's crazy though, just because her shot is, it's like that, it's at that level. Watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair, like she's a performer. She has gained over the course of these last couple years. Every building she goes into, there's a different energy. Like it's great for her, great for women's basketball.
You know what's crazy? NBA legends are fighting over Caitlyn Clark. Shaq calls her the GOAT of college ball, while LeBron's telling her to stay humble. So why is she getting knocked around like a pinball out there? 5 flagrant fouls already. That's wild. Some say it's respect, others say it's dirty. We're gonna break down what every NBA legend really thinks about Clark. Is she changing the game too fast? Or is this just what happens when you're on top?
I am a realist, because not only I get people are just crazy about why she should be doing this and they should be doing that. If she's so great, this team, it's still a team game, people. I'm rooting for Caitlyn because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills. I hope Aaliyah Boston does amazing. It's going to be great for her because she's a great talent. She seems like a great gal. And I hope she turns that franchise around to where, Tamika Catchings had it at one point.
NBA legends are fighting over who can praise Caitlyn Clark the most. It's like they're in a competition to see who can drop the biggest compliment. And let me tell you, they're not holding back. Let's start with Shaq. The big man himself is calling Clark the GOAT of college ball. That's insane, right? We're talking about Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, saying Clark is the best female collegiate player ever. Not just good, not just great, but the best, period. That's some serious praise coming from a guy who knows a thing or two about dominating on the court. Then you've got LeBron James coming in with a totally different angle. King James is telling Clark to stay humble. It's like, make up your mind, guys. Are we praising her or keeping her in check? LeBron's got some real advice for the young star, though. He's saying she needs to keep her mouth shut and let her game do the talking. That's some tough love right there. You know what? LeBron's been through it all, and he knows the pressure of being in the spotlight. He's telling Clark that everyone's looking for her to mess up, so it's better to stay quiet and let her skills speak for themselves. And it doesn't stop there. Steph Curry, arguably the greatest shooter of all time, is comparing Clark's range to his own. That's not just a compliment, that's like basketball royalty saying, hey, you're part of the family now. Curry's basically saying for Clark, no shot is a bad shot. Sound familiar? That's exactly how people talk about Steph's game. When you've got the NBA's three-point king giving you props like that, you know you're doing something right. Charles Barkley, he's just calling her a monster on repeat. Like, we get it, Chuck. But you know what? When Sir Charles is impressed, it means something. He's seen it all in basketball, and for him to be this hyped about Clark, it shows how special she really is.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlyn Clark? I mean, which one is it? Which one is it?
He's a player I grew up loving. I still love. I watch him all the time. So it's kind of crazy seeing all those NBA players, WNBA players tweet about you, talk about you. Yeah, I really feel like I'm still kind of in a dream, in a real world. I mean, it's kind of crazy, obviously. Those are the players I kind of grew up watching. Obviously, Steph Curry's kind of changed the game.
Oh, and get this. Luka Doncic is out here calling Clark the female Steph Curry. Talk about high praise. When one of the NBA's brightest young stars is comparing you to one of the game's all-time greats, you know you're doing something right. So, while these NBA legends are falling over themselves to praise Clark, WNBA players are knocking her down on the court. What's that about? Is it jealousy, respect, or are they just trying to prove that the WNBA isn't going to roll out the red carpet for anyone, no matter how hyped they are? It's crazy to see this mix of praise and pushback. Clark's got the legends talking, the fans watching, but also the opponents hitting. Is this the price of being a game changer? Or does women's basketball need to adapt faster to this new level of play? One thing's for sure, Caitlyn Clark is shaking up the basketball world, and everyone's got something to say about it. You think being a game changer is all glory? Think again. Caitlyn Clark's got a target on her back, and the stats are wild. Imagine being fouled so hard, so often that NBA legends are calling for suspensions. What's the real price of greatness in the WNBA? Picture this. You're Caitlyn Clark, the rookie sensation everyone's talking about. You step onto the court, ready to show off your skills, but instead of admiration, you're met with elbows and hard screens. It's not a couple of rough plays. We're talking 5 flagrant fouls already. That's almost 70% of all flagrant fouls in the entire league. It's like Clark's got a bullseye on her jersey, and everyone's taking aim. Now, some folks are saying this is a sign of respect. You know, like how the greats in the NBA used to get the Jordan rules treatment. But others, they're calling it straight up dirty play. It's getting so heated out there that even NBA legends are weighing in. Take Rick Barry, for instance. This Hall of Famer is absolutely furious about how Clark's being treated. He's not asking for a slap on the wrist for these hard fouls. He's demanding suspensions and big-time fines for anyone who goes after Clark. In his words, it's reprehensible what they're allowing to happen to her. And Barry's not alone. George Iceman Gervin is also stepping up to defend Clark. He's reminding everyone of the value she's bringing to the league. Gervin pointed out that thanks to players like Clark, the WNBA is flying private now. That's a big deal, but instead of gratitude, Clark's getting knocked around like a pinball out there. And that's got everyone scratching their heads. As you know, Clark didn't even make the Olympic team. Can you believe it? The player who's bringing more eyes to women's basketball than ever before. The one who's got NBA legends singing her praises, and she's not good enough for Team USA.
I saw the performance. Like I said, 41, almost triple-double, yeah. He was shooting, letting that ball fly. I watched a little bit, but she got to go in the second half, so I didn't watch that. I think it's more Steph Curry, man. It's a woman, Steph Curry.
Paul Pierce is one of many calling foul on this decision. He's saying leaving out the most popular player in women's basketball is a major mistake, especially when you're trying to grow the sport globally. So how exactly is Caitlyn Clark changing the game of women's basketball? Well, she's bringing in more viewers than ever before. Merchandise sales are through the roof. The WNBA is getting more attention than it has in years. Clark's not just a player, she's a phenomenon. But is she changing the game too fast? Or is this what happens when you're on top? Some say the league isn't ready for a player of her caliber. Others argue this is exactly what women's basketball needs to reach new heights.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. That should be celebrated in its own right. For anyone that's, in sports that's flown commercial or flown, charter, Caitlyn Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
One thing's for sure, Caitlyn Clark is shaking up the status quo and not everyone's happy about it. The question now is, can the WNBA adapt to this new level of play and star power, or will Clark's talent continue to be met with hard fouls and controversial decisions? Whatever happens, one thing's certain, Caitlyn Clark is changing the game, whether everyone's ready for it or not. So we'll see what happens this spring 2025 when the WNBA starts up again. What we do know for sure is the schedule is going to increase from 40 to 44 games and will begin May 16th. Alright, let's wrap this up. Caitlyn Clark's not just playing basketball, she's rewriting the rule book. She's got NBA legends singing her praises and fans glued to their screens. But with all that attention comes a target on her back. The WNBA is at a crossroads. Some experts are calling for rule changes to protect stars like Clark. It's not only about her safety, it's about the future of the game. Think Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Their rivalry took the NBA to new heights. Now, Clark and players like Angel Reese could do the same for women's basketball. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Can the WNBA keep up with Clark's game-changing talent? Or will she have to dial it back to fit in? One thing's for sure, Caitlyn Clark is shaking things up, and the basketball world is watching. Thanks to those who watched to the end. We appreciate it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Here's another video to watch with Shaq and Barkley hyping Caitlyn. Now, let's go.